Alright, what's the vibe, YouTube? It's your boy Goldfinger Visions, aka Roll to Monroe. I'm back with another video. Still ain't got no motherfucking intro. Look, y'all niggas see the title, y'all see the thumbnails. Can sex workers and virgins see eye to eye? Man, let's get it.
Like, I remember when I had my very first escort session, I had this background feeling that I was gonna feel like gross. And then I remember, went through the session and I left, and I was walking down the street with like a couple $1,000s in my pockets, and I was like, who exploited who here?
Okay, good point.
Step forward if you agree. I judge the other side.
It's hard for me to reconcile, unfortunately, like sex work as like noble or something that it's necessary for society.
Totally understand. But also, one of the oldest professions is sex work. One of the things that almost every human does in the world is sex. So the idea that we actually do this for money isn't too far out of the ordinary, you know? My dad was a pastor. So,
you know what? He has a great point. And I find it interesting that his father's a pastor, but we're not even going to get into that right now. We're going to get into that, like, further down the line. You know what I'm saying? It's a relationship between porn stars, sex workers, and the church. Don't judge me. There's something going on there. We got to figure that out. Let's get it.
Understand, I didn't grow up in an idea where, like, sex work was okay. But I did grow up in an idea where it's like, I want to learn. I want to experiment. And one of the things I wanted to always learn about was what my body does. So, like, what made you decide? What put you in a place where you decided? Is it religious? Or
Yeah, so it's definitely a Jesus thing. Like, Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and so I totally believe that that part of me is something to be shared intimately with the person I'm choosing to spend my life with.
Can I ask the disagreeers to step forward?
I don't judge you. I just don't understand why you would give people access to your body in that manner, which opens you up to so many more risks with like STDs, pregnancies, all that stuff. I could not do that. That is not me.
Okay, here's a good example for that. It's like, my other job is doing stunts. I light myself on fire. Is there a risk to that?
Yes.
But it is an educated risk because I know exactly what I'm doing and I know how long to burn and I know what's going on. Same thing with sex work. These are all educated risks that we take.
That is our job. Our body is what we use for our job, so we take care of it. We get tested. We take care of our health. You know, we are very, very adamant about that.
But I just cannot get on board with our bodies being a product all the time.
But isn't that how every job is? When I was working in retail, my body was a product. I'm lifting heavy things. I'm working in, you know, weird, nasty work conditions.
Yeah, that's a fact, but, you know, when you're at work lifting 30 pounds or whatever the case may be it's no energy exchange with another person. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't catch a motherfucking... Oh shit, I'm not supposed to go. Well, I didn't monetize yet anyway. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't catch a fucking STD by lifting up a box. You know what I'm saying? Well, at least I hope not. I don't know what kind of weird shit they got going on nowadays, but you know what I'm saying? Like, chill. Everything, like, just chill.
Injured. Like, every job I've had has required physical labor of my time and body, and I'm required to be there.
It's not the
We
same.
all sell our body, just depends on what part.
I mean, but sexual selling is very different from what I do, which is like working as a nurse in a hospital.
But you're selling your time, your physical ability, your knowledge, and your emotion, because that job is very draining on your mental health. We're
Still
doing
not
the
the
same
same,
thing,
though,
except
bro.
we're just showing nudity and pleasure. I'm Nathan Bronson. I am 32. I am a sex worker, and almost 100% of that is doing porn. When I was younger, I had girls tell me I was very terrible in bed and I had a small penis. I wanted a challenge. I always like doing things that not a lot of people can do. I want to be able to prove that I can do it. And so that's why I got it.
Here's how you can instantly brush and whiten your teeth.
Stop.
This U.S. Army dentist built a device to give Americans...
Stop. Just stop. brush your teeth, floss once, twice a day. That's how you do it. Get your cleaning every 6 months. If you got veneers, every 3 months. You understand what I'm saying? All this little extra shit, get it out of here.
Sex work can make the world a better place.
In the alternate universe, I would agree with this, but being the fact that we're under God's law and we got to follow God's law, this is terrible. This is not okay. No, absolutely not.
I'm a prostitute, and I've had so many clients. I had one guy whose wife had died, and he had only been with her his whole life.
Yeah.
And she
That's
had
cold.
just died like a year ago, and he was like, I don't know how to date again. He didn't want to get into the emotional part where
That's
he was like
understandable.
interwoven with the new person. And so as baby steps, like he came and saw me as an escort. Or there was another guy who was dying of cancer, and he was like, I'm not in a position where I can get laid on my own, and I don't want to die without experiencing intimacy with another person. And I got to be that for him. And just like last year, I looked him up and I found his obituary. Those encounters are what make the job valuable to me, because like, this is not just like a casual physical experience, right? Like you're touching somebody's soul, and I am so thankful to have been allowed the opportunity to help the men that I've helped like that.
Sometimes I get the feeling that
I don't even have a response for that.
save lives. Someone having a bad day, a man might want to be a little violent, but instead, he goes to the strip club, or he watches a little porn, or he, spends time with a provider, and
Pick up a Bible. How about that, mate? Pick up a Bible. Okay? Okay?
that brings him down and it levels him out, and he gets that intimacy that he's missing.
I have a suspicion that we save marriages.
marriages.
Like, I saw so many husbands who were like, my wife hasn't touched me in 6, 10, 15, 20 years.
Get a divorce. Get a divorce.
And like, I need sexual outlet. And like, the fact that they can get it with an escort, like, preserves the marriage. Otherwise, they would leave the wife, and the house and the kids and everything would explode. It's like,
Hey, man. Sometimes, fuck them damn kids. You gotta worry about you, man. Leave. You not happy? Leave. Cheating is not okay. Thank you.
a controlled release.
I got thoughts.
Okay, so I did want to address the idea that you said that you having sex with a husband saved the marriage. I don't believe that's even possible. How can adultery save a marriage?
Come on.
Like, my
preach.
perception is that this is like an inadequate Band-Aid to cover a wound that doesn't have another way to heal. And so I'm not saying it's great. I'm saying, yeah, you're correct in your criticism. I would not like to be in a marriage where this was happening without my knowledge. But like, I do suspect that the alternative is the destruction of the marriage.
I'm gonna share something. So I looked at porn when I was in 8th grade, and just kind of hearing, it's crazy. I'm getting like a frustration because I'm like, oh man, because it really put me down a bad spiral. And I just started thinking about myself. I started thinking about women really inappropriately. It's because like porn puts this idea in our mind and kind of scares us. I think it scares guys away from actually talking to women, actually.
Yeah, I also want to like validate the fact that pornography like can cause these effects in people. Like, some people watch porn and they have like a really negative reaction, or like it causes you to feel like this objectification of women that you don't want to experience. And I think it's like really important to like acknowledge that and be like, yeah, maybe some people just shouldn't watch porn. Like, maybe it's bad for them.
I was watching an interview the other day with Angela White, another porn star, and she said this thing that just fucking blew my mind, where she was like, we don't watch Fast and the Furious to learn how to drive. We don't watch porn to learn how to have sex and intimacy. Porn is entertainment. That's
not 100% true. I've definitely watched porn, learned some new moves. Shit. Matter of fact, when I had lost my V card, you know what I'm saying? My fucking corny ass cousin, he had fucking a stack of fucking pornos to the ceiling, literally to the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Pop one of them shits in the DVD. Yes, I'm old. And, I ain't even gonna finish. Fuck it.
So hard though, because so many people watch it. If that's the avenue they go towards, that's what they're gonna learn from, and then they're
But
going
again,
down a bad
now you're
path.
still splitting that path of like because we're having sex on camera, it is entertainment.
What would be your solution to be
It's
like, if
both
you do have those
educational
unsuspecting
and entertainment.
audiences? Like, is there an advisory? Is there something that says?
No, because it doesn't matter what you do, people are going to find it. Now, what I think, better education, better parents, better teaching, because when it really comes down to it, me doing this job and being chastised for doing something that as an adult that I want to do and I want to strive to do better is a completely different thing.
I'm Rudy. I'm a virgin. And I believe sex is a beautiful thing that God made for two people. I view the sex industry as something very taboo and full of people who may or may not have had a different choice or thought of a different option to provide themselves a better life.
God cares about our sex lives.
I believe that God created sex. Like, we are all sexual beings.
I
I mean,
know
unless
this.
you're asexual, I guess. But sharing that with one person for the rest of my life, like, that is so appealing to me, because then I feel like I can, like, give my fullest self to them, and I would hope that they want to do the same with me.
I feel like God is involved. And that's why people thought I was crazy when I said, yeah, I want to be actually praying on my first time. People thought I was crazy. But there's emotion, there's so much more than just action. This would be so
What
good.
the fuck are you
This would be
talking
so
about,
good.
bro?
I used to be very Christian. I was homeschooled.
Girls same.
Homeschooled. Yeah. My dad's a professional evangelical.
I don't know, man. If I have a daughter, I'm gonna have to keep her out the church. There's something going on with these girls and these churches. I am telling you. I don't know what's going on. We need answers. I'm telling you. Something's up.
Wow.
Who
Wow.
has a radio
Like
show
an
and writes
apologist?
books. Yes.
Oh,
He's a
God.
Christian apologist.
my
Yeah,
God.
I was raised, no kissing, don't hold hands. I was like, till marriage, like, absolutely. But there was a sense of, like, this sexual act is really elevated. Like, a lot of it from my frame, is that we're, like, sort of participating in a social ritual where we all, like, give this act, like, a huge amount of power, which is, like, not my deal, but I really resonate with, like, the strength that can hold.
So I also grew up Catholic and, grew up in my Catholic shame bubble. I would masturbate and then cry myself to sleep and be like, God hates me and I'm going to hell. I don't know, man. I just kind of opened my eyes to the world and was like,
Pretty
you know
accurate.
what? People are out here raping. They're out here murdering. They're out here doing some crazy ass
I mean, don't get it twisted. It's definitely levels to sin, but a sin is still a sin. So just because you please yourself and somebody out there fucking killed 10 people, God's looking at both of y'all motherfuckers. Okay? Okay.
and this world is fucking awful. I don't think God is down, looking down on the world and seeing all that and going, God damn it, Avery's sucking a dick again. Like,
He is.
another check, like she's gone. I'm like,
All of that's happening. Well, I don't know about the hell part. You could repent, but yeah.
no.
Are you at all worried that by creating porn and all that stuff is feeding into a very real addiction that a lot of men suffer with?
So
Most men
the difference
don't
there
want
is
it.
with like the mainstream porn that I do. Yeah, it can be hella skeezy. They give you skeezy, storylines and stepmom this and step this, and it gets real skeezy, But then when you take it to the other side of the porn, I can put out the product that I want to. I can help educate people. I can put out ethical porn because I'm making it.
I keep seeing all these guys use this soap, and okay, that is really good. Well, I was able to get their famous bar soap for $39, and that's for like a huge pack of 6.
Why y'all watch at our mind?
My name is Avery. I am 27 years old, and I am a sex worker. It's weird because I grew up super, super religious and, used to give chastity talks at
There's something going on in these churches. We have to figure it out. I'm telling you. I am telling you.
church and chastise my friends for being sexual, but I actually find that I'm not as bitter towards my religion anymore since I started this work, because somehow it's kind of reconnecting me to it in a way. Just seeing that and hearing from people that I'm putting good out into the world and I'm making the world a better place and I'm making people feel joy and happiness.
I've had trouble in romantic relationships.
Baby, what the fuck are you talking about? What are you saying right now? You're not.
My fiance does not do sex work, she's only slept with, I think, 13 people, right? Which,
Cap.
me, that's...
He's like, that's so little for me, that's a
I
lot.
mean, before I got into the industry, I was over 100
the
something.
number.
So it's a
Cap.
crazy number to me. It's always a very strange thing trying to keep this relationship going in the sense of like what I do. Because even it's just their egos, and she has to see me with younger women all the time, and it sometimes hurts her, but it's like just a lot of communication.
For me, I am currently in a relationship, and the guy I'm dating, he is actually not a Christian. So I had to have that conversation with him beforehand, like that because of my religious beliefs, I'm not going to have sex until marriage. He's not only honored it, but he supported it. But it does make it difficult because it's like I want to make him happy, he wants to make me happy, and that struggle of like I guess fighting against our flesh is going to be a little harder. I don't want anyone to see my naked body until they're my husband.
Oh, he hasn't even seen you naked?
No.
Oh, really? Wow. Sorry, being naked is just such I just walk around naked. It doesn't. How long have you guys been dating?
It's been a few months.
Like 3, 4?
Yeah, around that.
Good for you, girl. Keep that pussy on lock.
A lot of people think that we are anti-sex or not sex positive. I don't think that's true at all. I know that I'm a very sexual person. I cannot wait to explore that sexual side of myself with my husband. But that is something that I want to restrict to just one person. And that's how I want to explore that sexual side of me.
My bad, y'all.
I just have to be here.
I don't have a romantic issue with my virginity because they kind of they admire kind of what I do or my self-control, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Restraint is hot.
Restraint is hot. Yes, it is.
Question: have you had women who definitely not virgins, maybe not even Christian, come after you because they know you're a virgin? They're trying to steal that card.
Yeah.
And how hard do they push?
It's pretty hard.
I've never been in a circumstance where I had somebody I wanted to date who did not want to date me because of my job, ever.
Really?
Ever. Because the kind of filters I have in place, like by the time we get to the point where I want to date them, like if they've passed all the other criteria that I have, by that point, all of them are just totally fine with sex work. I don't like people who are possessive at all. I'm very polyamorous.
Yeah.
In the normal world is that people don't date each other because of sex work, but that's just not the reality I live in.
Yeah.
See, that's my reality. I have a hard time with romantic relationships because, I'm a sex worker. And not only am I a sex worker, but outside of work, I self-identify as a whore. Like, I just like to have sex, and I like to experience as many people as possible.
It's something going on in these churches.
And when I do find someone that I'm interested in for romantic relationships, that's the package deal. I tell them, like, look, I want to be with you, and I want to be in a relationship with you, and I care about you a lot. But I also need to be a slut and have sex with people who aren't you sometimes. I've tried dating, like, other porn performers, and, even that gets murky because even with our jobs, jealousy is still a thing. So, I'll be dating a porn star who knows that I'm a porn star, and then they hit me with the, hey, babe, I think, like, maybe you should just start doing, like, content with girls. Yeah, just do girl, and, like, maybe threesomes with me and other girls, and, like, that's it, and change your branding. And I'm like, so you started this romantic relationship with me knowing exactly what the is down, like, who I am, what I do, what I'm about, and you thought that, let me just, like, wait a few months and then I can, like, change. You're like, okay, great.
I enjoy masturbation. Hey, girl.
Do you feel guilty?
I think in the beginning, because I didn't know what I was doing and like what I felt about it, the problem is like the Bible doesn't say anything about masturbation. So you're always like,
What? Motherfucker, what? That is a sin. And read your Bible. Obviously, you did not read it. The fuck?
this is the world of gray. And then
But religion says something about masturbation. So, like, does your religion say anything about masturbation? Is nothing?
it's more about like generalized sexual immorality. So I didn't feel like masturbation was immoral of me. Like I felt like, oh, this is just me getting to know my body and what I like, and then hopefully pass it along to a great guy.
Yeah, I remember when I was Christian and I was trying to figure out if I should masturbate. I would like consult the Bible quite a lot. I would like Google, like, is it okay to masturbate for women? And there was no resources for women at all. It was like men have to control their lusts. And I felt like a crazy pervert because I'm like, oh, I have all of these urges that women apparently don't have. I ended up deciding that, okay, lust is a sin, but the masturbation itself isn't. So that if I engaged in the physical act without like having any sort of mental process going on, then that would be okay by God.
I'm surprised that you.
Oh, I got answers. I got answers. One of the things is because I have to save my load to use at work, which is a little graphic, but that's really what it is. So one of the things I have to do, because I'm doing 2 scenes a day, so I can't jerk off. I can barely have sex with my fiance most of the time because I'm doing the job. I'd much rather take that time, go give pleasure to someone else, and actually see that look on someone's face that I gave them an experience.
Right.
I would totally disagree with the idea that masturbation isn't sin. I feel like there's something that happens. I don't know, like it's just so hard to explain.
I'm curious. I want to ask, like, what is it like to you about touching your own body, that and making yourself feel that type of pleasure? What makes that a sin?
But it's like with me, I just see that God is so high and mighty that like the reason why maybe I keep on messing up, because there's moments of I'm sexting, I'm doing things and you're like, what? How would you do that? But the thing is, it's like, yeah, I mean, and the thing is understanding that like I'm not God, but also understanding that like I want to be more Christ-like. Yeah, progress in my faith.
Do you masturbate?
Yes, I have, yes.
Do you do it regularly?
There's moments where it's probably once a month.
Oh.
What do you guys do when you feel those impure thoughts and you think about it and you want to masturbate because that's your direct correlation to what you're doing?
I call a friend and kind of like, because the thing is,
you got a friend like that? That's
do you tell your friends while you're calling them? Or do you just call for distraction?
I call, well, it's calling, kind of be like, hey, this is happening right now. I need some prayer because this could get bad. This could be bad because it's like it's really unhealthy. It's very unhealthy of me.
And if you're in a good church community, you have prayer warriors, and that helps immensely, no matter what you may be struggling with.
When are you going to finally quit porn?
I'm actually on my 31st day.
Guys?
68.
When are you gonna quit, guys?
Being a virgin has shaped me in a way of separating myself from the rest of the pack. So I stopped watching porn based off of a flick that I watched. That just made me just stop completely. I like intimacy, and I've realized that porn doesn't give me the intimacy that I'm searching for.
The sex industry is sexist.
The sex divide is way different in our industry. Women get paid a lot more.
It's actually, the sex industry is I think it's one of like 2 industries in the world where women make more than men.
Yeah.
Everyone's objectified, kind of, because the men y'all are reduced to your penises.
Oh, yeah,
no one even really knows who the men are, but I know so many people who recognize penises. We have to cater to these fantasies for fans, and there are sadly it's a broad reflection of how the world is. And out in the broad world, there's a lot of men who want to see women get beat and had sex with brutally and just brutally taken, and that's what they want.
That's where I'm thinking the sex industry is sexist, because women in general and the different aspects of the sex industry, I feel like are viewed as less than.
They are. And for me, the one turnaround of it though is where we take our power back We enjoy, filling out those fantasies and those role plays to take power over it. The other night, I was having sex with a man, and he's like having sex with me, and he puts his foot on my face and is like stepping on me while he's having sex with me. And you see your face. My face, I was in heaven. I was there like trying to lick his feet, and I was just like,
it's something going on in these churches. We have to figure it out.
it's hot to me because I get to explore this in a safe manner that is controlled by me.
What?
Like, of course porn is designed for men. It's not because, like, we don't like
Cap.
women. It's because men are visually stimulated and, like, way more likely to spend money on porn. This doesn't feel like an issue to me. This feels just like the natural, like, way that we are. Like, I remember when I had my very first escort session where I had sex with my first man for money. Going into it, I was super nervous because I'm like, I had this background feeling that I was going to feel like gross or like violated or exploited in some way, like a little bit of a fear. And then I remember, like, I went through the session and I left, and I was walking down the street with like a couple $1,000s in my pocket because I charged very high rates. And I was like, who exploited who here? Like, I feel incredible. And I remember feeling
Respect.
I remember feeling like angry at society. I was like, why did they tell me this would feel bad? I feel so good. And it's like, at that point, it's like, I don't know, when we talk about like sexism in the industry, you could very easily argue it goes the opposite way. I grew up in a very conservative culture that expected me to become a housewife. But it turned out to be that I was a sex worker instead. I got to like escape that sort of life where I was working minimum wage jobs with not a lot of prospects. My family is not supportive of my professional choices. I'm definitely performing a moral action in their eyes. I am degrading myself and my sexuality in their eyes. I associate it very strongly with freedom, like being able to have access to a lot of different choices to make a lot of money that I never would have had the opportunity to have before.
Money is the root of all evil.
Sex work should be legalized in America.
From all the statistics I know of, like, let's say Australia, and this is from just the knowledge I've learned from that, apparently sex work has actually decriminalized a lot of places. So if you legalize all sex work, you kind of take away that human want in making it so it's just available if you want it. And also, if you make it available just like prostitution, making that available, you have to make people go through screening. You have to make people get tested. So everyone's going to, STDs might even go down.
So there's a difference between decriminalizing sex work and legalizing it. Legalizing it means, obviously, the government is going to be into it. They're going to be able to set up health regulations, which can definitely help sex workers. Decriminalizing it just means that you as a sex worker cannot be arrested for what you do. Right. I personally don't believe that legalizing it is beneficial because even in those countries where it is legalized, it correlates to higher rates of sex trafficking. I know I'm not supposed. Yes. And I would have thought that it wouldn't have been that way because otherwise I would have agreed with you. I would have said yes, it should be legalized because then we can have all these regulations in place to make it safer for sex workers.
But see, if you had a governmental body going through, just like if you went to a restaurant, there's an A on the door, same like food handlers, right? Then it would be, this is a building that is regulated. We have people coming through to make sure everyone coming through gets tested this many times. And you coming in, you have to be tested the day before to actually get checked in.
I guess that assumption is based on if everyone who is in sex work would go the legal route, because not everyone would. When there's government involvement, what does that mean? Taxes. Not everyone wants to have taxes. That's why in New Zealand it's decriminalized, but there are no regulations to keep anyone in that whole situation safe.
I was just on the disagree side because I don't think it should be legalized. I think it should be decriminalized. I don't want the government anywhere near sex work. I don't want the government controlling it, taxing it, making it to where they legalize it, but they're still going to put loopholes around that puts us in even more danger. I also think sex work should be decriminalized because as long as it's criminalized, we're at the mercy of the cops, and the cops are the biggest threat to female sex workers specifically. Almost every female sex worker I know who's had an encounter with the cops has been raped by the cops.
Sex is the ultimate form of intimacy.
One of the most common combos that people do when they're taking Testosterone X is that they start stacking it with redwood. And redwood.
Nobody's doing that. Nobody bought your product, bro.
Whenever I do have sex that first time, I just don't want anyone else other than my husband to ever see me in that vulnerable state. It's too precious to me, and how can you get more, at least physically intimate than that? You can get more emotionally intimate, I'm sure, but
Yeah, that intimacy with someone else.
And it's crazy because we're waiting for that, you know? We're waiting for that and wondering what that's going to be like.
As a nurse, I've seen, 94-year-olds in the hospital, and just like the intimate relationship that they've had with their spouse still carries forward. Like, people who are quadriplegic, people who no longer can speak, who are more nonverbal, just seeing the dedication day after day, like their visitors, their family members coming in. It's just really nice to see that you can have a circle of different types of intimacy with companionship and the trusting relationship and the physical part of it.
Intimacy is moments in time, moments between people.
Right.
I've had intimate moments, like I had an intimate moment with you today. Now, was it the most intimate thing I've ever done? No. So I think those moments where you're there with someone willing to die for that person is way more intimate than anything we can find sexually, because sex is something that's going to happen when you guys start having sex and start being in there with your partner. It's like you want that to last forever. You want that moment, but it's not the thing you would die for.
Right.
God, you would die for God. That's an intimate thing.
Right.
That sexual moment is not. You would die for her for other reasons, not for sex.
No.
That was it.
Bye.
That was it. Good luck, guys. I felt like I was wrong. Alright, man, so there you... Oh, shit. What? Is abortion murder? I'm out there. Alright, man, so... sex workers versus virgins. You know what I'm saying? You've seen it here first, hopefully. I'm definitely gonna do some more reactions to this page. I'm definitely gonna subscribe more. It's your boy Goldfinger Visions, aka Rolty Monroe. I still ain't got no motherfucking intro. And see you in the next video.